financial reform bill could be explosive. It would give the government the right to break up a bank or a financial institution. One angry lobbyist describes this amendment as something Congress would do, quote, to destroy the American economy. Well, with inflammatory comments like that, we wanted to get to the bottom line. Joining us from Capitol Hill, the man behind the amendment, Representative Paul Kanjorski, Democrat from Pennsylvania. Congressman Kanjorski, good to have you with us. Obviously, you've heard some of the rhetoric on both sides of this. What exactly is this amendment? This would give a regulator to be determined the right to break up a financial institution, even if it weren't about to fail, right?
Yes. The whole point, Aaron, is that particularly with the present piece of legislation, we're going further than we authorized the regulators in the past, because we've seen the tremendous abuses in the past that caused or at least contributed to the recession that we're in now. And it seems to me if we're going to give power to bail out companies when they are too large, and we're going to give power to do resolution authority once they go over the edge and we have to say them, well, why don't we preemptively determine those corporations or financial institutions that are, quote, too big to fail, identify them, and then make sure they don't remain too big to fail, trim them down so that they can sail and fail if they want to, but not cause the entire system to fail. That's what we're working for.
Okay, so two big questions here. First, who gets to decide? Who has the right to say from on high, break up or don't break up? Who gets the power?
Well, we're sending the Corps of Engineers over to Mount Olympus right now to construct that. No, Aaron, it's going to be the regulators, the Council of Regulators.
Oh, and no, a council is a bad thing.
Well, presently in the bill is formed in the form of a Council of Regulators that can move, and then we're building in, we hope, a filtering mechanism, right. And then ultimately where there's dissolution ordered or breakup ordered, I would hope that that would have to go up to the Secretary of the Treasury, who would get an order from the President to accomplish that.
An order from the President, right. And I know I was being a bit flip there when I said councils are a bad thing, but I mean, we've all dealt with councils of people, and then there's so many competing interests in the group that sometimes it can be hard for them to function. But go ahead.
It can be, but what we're faced with, you know, we don't want to create a king of economics in the country. And some people have wanted to do that with the Federal Reserve. My own inclination there is the Federal Reserve has a mission now that's as large as you want to have there. If you want to start another super regulator, that's something we could look at, or use this council.
So is what you're trying to do here a backdoor way of bringing back Glass-Steagall, which obviously prevented companies like Citigroup or even J.P. Morgan from existing, where you had a bank and you had an investment advisory business?
I'm not at all certain that we didn't make a mistake in '99 when we did away with Glass-Steagall. But, you know, we can't row backwards at this point. What we're trying to do is, within the system, perform the surgical corrections that are possible and to make eminent sense. Look, the people that are yelling the sky is falling, they may be in the very largest institutions. But I can assure you that those competitive institutions that are significantly lower than the 5 or 10 top institutions, they can see this as greater competitiveness, because now they're going to be able to compete, get prices, get interest rates based on the fact that the government isn't going to guarantee bailing them out. So we're actually helping to create a competitive situation. I think that's very healthy. Aaron, one other thing I want to tell you. Yeah. Nobody has the magic bullet here. There isn't a silver bullet. We're only human. Last time I jumped off a 10-foot landing, I hurt myself. So, you know, we're not pretending that we have the foolproof solution. What we're attempting to do within the confines of the system, with the existing powers that we have, find mechanisms that I think make eminent sense to so many people. I was interested to note today that John Reed, the developer of Citicorp, apologized for what he created. That monster that grew up, that now is beyond control. You know, when the founder, and I have a great deal of admiration for Mr. Reed, I think we're going to find a lot of people. Paul Volcker, these people are not anti-capital. They're very strong capitalists. We're strong capitalists. But we want our capitalist system to really work, and we now know that, and there wasn't a purposeful conspiratorial abuse. It's the natural action of capital to grow and exceed. Now we're going to contain it.
So one question for you here, and this is important because if you're going to give the government or regulators the power to decide sort of preemptively who should be allowed to stay how they are and who has to break up, it raises the question of government influence. So I wanted to give you a chance just to listen to something very quickly that the former CEO of Fannie Mae, Daniel Mudd, said to me this morning. Here he is.
When we were required, we were probably the only organization, along with Freddie Mac, required to be always long the market 24/7. You were going to get an awful result, and that's what happened. So I think the business model is what really needs to get addressed, and I hope it happens.
And that really is the potential real concern, isn't it, sir, that you had people from Congress and people from the White House telling these companies how to do their business. And yes, there was a taxpayer backing, but it cost us $200 billion. And even now, Fannie Mae says they're being forced to buy bad loans yet again. Isn't the fear that the government starts to tell banks how to do business?
That's always the fear. But the fact of the matter is when the people's money is being used to bail these large companies that otherwise will fail because of their own internal decisions and actions, we certainly have to have someone tell them what to do in order to save them if that's necessary. Now, I can't defend all the actions of government or all the actions of either administration. I've been very close to it since September 18th when we took on the rescue package. More often than not, the decisions were made certainly with malice toward none and with great intellectual percacity. And I think most of the decisions made have been successful. Now, history may have to be the final judge. But at this point, let me tell you this. There are very few Americans that realize if we hadn't done something a year ago and it was governmental action, today we wouldn't be talking about what the interest rate is, what the unemployment rate is, and where the Dow is over 10,000 again. What we'd be talking about is where did the country go?
All right, well, sir, thank you very much. Representative Kanjorski, as we said.